Want to learn 8-bit pixel art? Well, I turned my kids into these 8-bit characters and made this t-shirt using Procreate and a pixel art brush that I created myself. And I'm going to show you how it's done. Hi, welcome back to Haley K Studio. I'm Haley and I like to make Procreate tutorials for beginners. And in today's video, I'm going to be making an 8-bit pixel art design. So I like making custom t-shirts for my husband, so I wanted to share my process of doing that. So what I did this time was I took our two kids and I made them into 8-bit characters. And heads up, I have a hand injury. I hurt myself this morning. A mug broke as I was lifting it up by the handle, and I got a little bit of an injury. So I was fortunate today. I was already planning on doing a pixel art design, and it doesn't take a whole lot of precise drawing. So bear with me as I kind of have to deal with this injury, and I'm sorry. So stick around and I'll show you how to make your own pixel art brush step by step, setting up your canvas with a grid to allow for 8-bit pixel art. Plus I'll take you through the process of getting this design printed on a t-shirt using Printful. It's easier than you think and you don't need any special equipment. And I'll also share with you how you can get your hands on the pixel art brush that I make in case you need a little bit of a head start. So let's go ahead and get started on this and we'll see how well I can do. So like I said, because I'm injured, I went ahead and I just saved the sketch that I made when I was practicing this. I didn't think that I could go through the sketching process on this one, so I thought I would give myself a little grace and just use the original sketch that I made when I was practicing, and it kind of gives you a preview of what this is going to look like. The t-shirt that I want to have this printed on requires a physical size of 12 inches by 16 inches, so I set my canvas to 11 inches by 14 inches, and that is 3,300 pixels by 4,200 pixels. It's pretty big, and we only have 44 maximum layers. So I've mentioned this before, the bigger your canvas, the fewer layers you're going to have. So we're just going to have to keep that in mind as we create this. And the first thing that we're going to need to create this 8-bit pixel art design is a pixel brush. And to do that, we're going to need a brand new canvas separate from our art canvas, and just have a canvas that we're going to use to make our pixel brush. This is just a random square canvas, and I'm just going to crop and resize this one by going to Actions and Canvas, and then crop and resize. Go to settings, and we are going to set this to 1 pixel by 1 pixel, and done. And so this is a very, very small canvas. We can't even scroll in anymore. What we need to do is make this fully white, and we're just going to drag and drop a white in there. And if you notice, when I drop that in, it doesn't show anything, and I just drag across my screen to get it to continue filling. It's just so small that it kind of struggles with that a little bit. So now that we have our canvas filled with white, I am going to hit copy, and I'm going to my brush library to a brand new brush set where I will hit this plus sign here, and now we can create our pixel brush. We'll just go down the list. We have to clear out basically all of the settings that are default, so making sure that pretty much everything is set to none. Stroke path, we're setting spacing to none. Stabilization, double check everything is set to none. Taper, ensure that there is no taper, and we'll turn pressure all the way down, and everything else is set to none. Now we've gotten to shape, and we can change our shape source to what we copied to our clipboard. We will tap on shape source, import, and then paste. Tap done, and done again. And now we're getting somewhere. So we want to make sure all these other ones are set to none. Next, at grain source, we just want to change all of this, everything to none. Under rendering, we do want flow all the way to max, but I set the rendering mode to intense blending, and then all the other settings just defaulted. Wet mix, we're going to turn these all the way off, and those are off. And we'll head to Apple Pencil, and we do want the opacity turned all the way down. We don't need any tilt, so we'll turn that off, and those are okay. Now, under properties, we can set smudge pull all the way down, and maximum size, I like it set to max, minimum size all the way down, and then the other settings are just fine. And now about brush, we can change the name to Pixel Brush. If you're going to be selling this or sharing this, you'll want to enter your name, and you can put in a picture and you can even sign it if you want. And I will hit done and also done. And now we have our pixel brush. So now we're back at our sketch that we're going to be using to make our t-shirt. I just want to set my brush color to black for now. And here's my pixel brush, and I'm setting the size to 20%. And now we are setting up our canvas grid. So head over to actions and then drawing guide, and we will edit drawing guide. I'll turn up the opacity so it can be seen better. I'm just going to change it to like a blue so we can identify it a little better as we are going through the drawing. But we do need to change the grid size, and an even number really is best when you are creating a grid to use for pixel art. So I'm going to set this to 50. It's pretty small compared to how big our canvas is, because we remember that it's over 3,000 pixels wide and over 4,000 pixels tall. So we will hit done. So it is pretty small grid in comparison to the image. But what we are seeing is that the grid goes all the way to the edge, which is what we're going for. We don't want any half cells on the edges. We want full cells all the way to the sides. And I will tap on done. I'm going to add a layer above our sketch, and I want to turn on drawing assist. And now let's test out our brush that we made. And this can be kind of tricky. It is trying to get your Apple Pencil to the very center of your grid squares. So we're seeing here that it is filling up each of the pixel squares, and it can be kind of tricky when you are tapping in a space because it will do half squares, it'll go in between. But the pixels of our grid and the size of our brush that I set it to with these exact settings, I think it can be done. So now let's go ahead and start doing the lining portion of our pixel art. And as much as I can, I'm going to draw once and use twice or more times. I'm going to start with these squares down here. And my goal is to make sure that everything is the same size, same amount of pixels across each of these squares, so everything is uniform and more geometrically pleasing. So now I have my first block made. I am going to copy that and paste it over to this other side. And I will also reuse it down here and just paste another one down and overlap it so it's even. I'm just going to add one more block to this bottom layer. So for this bottom layer, I'm just going to center it a little more so that it's a little more even on the page. And now we have our block layer, and I'm just going to flatten those. Now I'm going to move on to my little hearts. And so I've made it so that the little guys are jumping toward the hearts. And my sketch isn't totally even to this grid, and that's okay. But I've added a new layer, and I will again turn on drawing assist. There, so that took me a couple tries. I wasn't liking how it was looking with the thinner lines or with just the 1 pixel thick lines on the side. I bulked it up a little bit. I'm liking it much more. So I'm ready to duplicate that layer and right above there as part of my design. So now I'm gonna make my little guys. My plan is to do his little face, hair, and hat, and then duplicate that and share it over here so they don't have to draw that twice. I will add another new layer, turn on the drawing assist, and then go for it. Okay, so there's my first guy's little face, and I will copy that. He's just going to get placed up there. So now I have a little bit less work to do. I will go back down to my original layer and finish up his body down here. Okay, now we've got our little running man, and we'll work on our jumping man. Okay, so now we have our jumping man. So our line art of our pixel art image is done, and I want to fill this with some color now. So to start, I'm going to go ahead and work on my background. I want to create a kind of gradient. So this is going to be printed on a black t-shirt, and of course I want some good color contrasting my black lines so nothing blends into the t-shirt that I choose. And I have a color palette, and I have linked my color palette down below if you would like to use this. It is just an 8-bit color palette. I chose colors that are pretty standard to video games, so we're going to use that as our background. To start, I am going to choose this kind of aqua blue color. It's kind of like a sky color, and I'm going to fill the entire space. Then I will choose a lighter blue, and I'm going to go to my selector tool and choose rectangle and color fill, and I will just choose a section here that I want to have that fade into. Then I will choose this white, and I'll go back to my selector tool and fill the rest of it with this white. And now I have my color background that I want to turn into a gradient. So I will go to Adjustments, Gaussian Blur, and create a gradient like that. And I'm going to put some text here. So I want it a little bit darker. So with my transform tool, I want to move this down a little bit so there's more blue down there. And I'm just going to resize this and just kind of keep adjusting it until I like how the gradient is placed. So I'm happy with that. More white toward the bottom is what I was going for. So the first thing I want to fill in is the blocks at the bottom. So what I'd like to do is just add a layer below that, and I have a sort of gray color chosen as my first layer of color here, and this doesn't need to be perfect. I am just going to create a shape, and you can turn on assisted here. I actually will in just a moment. So I'm just going to color that, fill it with gray. And now I will switch back to the white. And in that same layer, I am going to turn on the drawing assist for this next part. And it's to create the kind of highlight to the blocks. And it's just some white that I am going to put in the top corner of each, going up the side and across the top of each of these blocks. And this doesn't have to be perfect. Even with some overlapping, we're still getting the 8-bit vibe from it. So if you can't make absolutely perfect pixel art, like I'm not doing, because, you know, doing what I can, that's okay. I think it still looks cool. So don't beat yourself up if this isn't perfect 8-bit pixel art. So I'm just going to give the same treatment to this set of blocks, fill that in, and it will still fill in even with the drawing assist turned on, and then grab the white. So now our blocks are filled in. I will move on to my hearts. I'm going to put the 2 hearts in the same layer. So I just flattened my hearts layer, and I will add a layer below that. Grab a red. I'm going to grab this reddest red. I will go ahead and turn on the drawing assist and start filling my hearts. And now our hearts layer is done. So let's fill our little guys. So I will add a new layer below this first little guy. Okay, so Griffin is done. I think he's looking pretty much like Griffin. So now we'll go to the Bjorn layer. That's our younger son, Bjorn. So his layer's here. I'll add the first layer below him. So now we've got our basic image done. I want to add some text to this. So I'm going to choose white for my text. I'll select my topmost layer so that my text goes above that, just so that it's easier for me to find. So to add text, I will go to the actions and add text. And it creates a text box for me here. I'll put it up here so you can see it. Sometimes your keyboard will pop up, sometimes it won't. You can always select your keyboard from this little icon here, but I'm going to choose the AA so I can change the font first. And I just have this 8-bit style font that I downloaded this a long time ago. I believe I got it from DaFont. It's a personal use font that I have, and I am just using this for personal use. Whatever 8-bit font that you have, or you can even make one yourself. Now that you have your pixel brush, you can go crazy and even create your own fonts, which is really fun as well. I want to add some text that kind of applies to my husband, and it's kind of hard to see right now, so I might have to create an outline for this. I'm going to highlight my text, and I want mine to say leveled up, and it's not quite the right size, so I'm going to resize this and set it here. And then if you select your move and transform tool, it'll give you those orange and blue lines if you can see them. And I want this to go in the center, and it is kind of hard to see, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that, and on the layer on top, I'll change it to black, and then I am going to tap on this AA here and set it to outline. And I'm going to turn down the opacity just a little bit, and now I can see it a bit better. And this is going to be on a t-shirt, so we definitely want to be able to see it. I want to add a little bit more text, so I'm going to go to actions and add text, and it will stick to that same font that you were using before. And I'm going to change it back to white. It really pops against this more teal blue up here. Before I start typing, I want to turn it down so I don't lose it, and I am going to make it left justified. Now I will go to my keyboard and start typing in what I want this to say. So thinking about vintage video games, there's always a clock and a score timer at the top. And what I thought would be fun was putting in our son's dates of birth. So our older son is 02, 08, 19, and then our younger son is 01, 10, 22, I think. Yeah, that's right. So that makes sense for us, and I kind of like it on top and on bottom like that. I was going to have them side by side, but it changed it to one on top and one on the bottom, and a lot of score counters are like that too. So I'm going to leave it like that because that is a happy accident that I'm cool with. Then I want to add a couple more hearts, so I'm going to duplicate these layers. So I'll flatten those and duplicate it and bring them together. So I've got the hearts here, and I'm just going to make little small versions of them and put a couple more hearts up here because I thought it'd be kind of cute. So maybe I'll put them over here and then scooch our text over. So here's my t-shirt image done. I'm going to turn off the drawing guide and the grid. I do want to crop it down. I've made everything up a little bit too high so that there is a lot of space down here, and that's easy to do. I'm just going to go to actions again, canvas, crop and resize, and I'm just going to bring this up a little bit. And it's not a big deal if it's not exactly 11 by 14. It's a t-shirt, so it's not like it's being printed on a piece of paper. It's going to fill a space on a t-shirt. It just has to be no bigger than 12 inches by 16 inches according to the t-shirt that I chose. So I'm going to tap done, and it's cropping the canvas for me, and that fits a lot better, and I like the way that looks a lot better. So now I'm ready to export this and have it ready to create a t-shirt design. So to export, you go to actions and then tap share, and I'm going to share it as a PNG, and I'm going to airdrop this to my computer. If you don't want to save it to a computer and you just want to do all the work from your iPad, go ahead and just hit save image and save it to your camera roll. But I'm going to go ahead and airdrop this to my computer and then send that off. and then I'll meet you over on my computer, and then we'll have this printed by Printful. So here we are on the Printful website. This is my go-to print-on-demand website. I use it all the time personally. I make custom t-shirts for my husband, like I mentioned, and this is the website that I used. This video is not sponsored by Printful, but I do have an affiliate link that I'm going to share below that I may receive a commission if you were to use that affiliate link. So feel free to use it if you want, but if you don't, that is totally cool. This is just what I personally use. It is free to sign up, and I wanted to share that with you. So here in the product catalog, the product that I'm wanting to print on is called the Unisex Tri-Blend T-shirt by Bella and Canvas. It is product number 3413. If you're wanting to use this one, this is just a t-shirt that I know my husband likes, and he's very picky about it. So I'm just gonna keep using this one because he will wear it. And my color of choice is a solid black tri-blend. The charcoal black tri-blend is cool too, but I try and stick with black. The technique that we want to choose is this VTG printing. Then I'm gonna click on Create Product Template, and it takes you into this design maker, and this is where we can upload our image. And you can click on here, but I'm going to just drag and drop my image into here. And now we've got the image that we created, and it's great because we set it to 300 DPI, so the print quality is going to be perfect. There's no resizing we need to make on this because we prepared ourselves with the correct size when we originally made the image. So now this is ready for us to click on Save to Templates. And that will take you to your product templates, and now we have our t-shirt here. I know that's not the size and fit that I'm wanting, but this is just giving you an example. And from here you can download mock-ups, like if you wanted to sell this image like on an Etsy shop or straight from the Printful website. You can create a store straight from the Printful website if you wanted. You can download mock-ups so that you have examples of what your t-shirt looks like before someone buys it. I don't need that. I'm just going to go ahead and click on Make an Order. And you can do personal orders, or you can connect this to your Etsy shop like I have. Connecting this to your Etsy shop, it will automatically create a drafted listing to your Etsy that you would go in and you would complete, and then you can finalize your listing and post it to Etsy. But this is just a personal order for me, and I want a basic order. So I will click on Create Your Order, and you can make your selections for this order. You can select as many sizes as you want and as many colors as you want, but I just want black and I just want my size of choice. And this is what the next screen looks like. It doesn't have my personal information on it yet. So I've got my t-shirt that I am ordering. I just want one, and here is the price I'm paying, and then you can make any changes that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to shipping and then pay for it, and then I'll meet you back at my design. So I have successfully placed my order, and now I'm just going to wait for that to come back to me, and I will meet you back here and I will show you the final product. And we are back. It has been about a week and a half, 10 days to be more exact, and I've gotten my package back. This has the t-shirt that I ordered in it, so I'll go ahead and unbox this, or unbag this, I guess. So it looks really good. The color turned out really great. So I found that the print quality on these shirts is really, really good. And I am super happy with how this turned out. I think my husband's gonna love it. And the words, the lettering on the bottom looks really good. I love this. This is so cute. I cannot wait to give it to my husband. So thank you so much for watching. I have linked the pixel brush that I made in the description box down below if you would like to use my pixel brush. And that's just linked to my Patreon, and it's a free download to the public in my Patreon. Feel free to join as a free member. I give a lot of free goodies to free members and to the public, but of course there's always the option of becoming one of my drawing buddies, so go ahead and check that out as well on my Patreon. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to see more videos like this one, hit the subscribe, because I share a lot of fun tutorials for beginners on Procreate or anybody that wants to try something new. So I'd love to see you here again. But until then, I'm going to go ahead and keep drawing on Procreate, and so should you. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!